And anyway, so hello, I'm Melanie with Melanie's Mischief with Paper, and this is the September edition of Mischief with Paper Pumpkin. And our paper pumpkin this month is called, what is it called? Fall for Twall. So here is what the cards will look like. And I'll flip my camera here shortly and then we can do everything. But I wanted to say hello because it's the first time I'm live on YouTube. Typically, I am on Facebook and I can't apparently do Facebook and YouTube at the same time. Facebook won't load to my business page. It only will let me do it on my personal page, which isn't really what I want to do. So anyway, for now, we'll try live on YouTube this month. So I hope you're here and enjoying. And if you're watching later, awesome. Glad to have you here. And I will flip over and we can see what we've got on our cards this month. So this month's set, like I said, it's called Fall for Twelve. Paper Pumpkin, for those of you that don't know, is a Stampin' Up! Monthly kit that comes to your house, and it has everything you need inside. You can literally take the box and go. You don't need another thing in order to make the projects. They're wonderful if you want to take something with you on a weekend to get away, or if you want to get together with some friends and have a little crafting afternoon. It's perfect because everything you need is there. Along with Paper Pumpkin, Stampin' Up! Also offers other kits, and there's some really cool ones that are out, and I can show you a few of those after we make our cards. So I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see what we're doing, and I need to see if I can flip. I have to flip and see if I have any comments because that's what I need to follow. So yes, please let me know you're here by commenting, and I am going to make my comment bigger so that I can see things. All right. There we go. All right. So the way I typically do this is I will make the cards exactly as they are so I can show you how quick and easy it is. The things that come in the kit, I used to open the kit, just open it up right here online and show you everything and how it's all there. But I found that I get really distracted punching things out and making sure that, I can actually tear open the cellophane and whatnot. So I have pre-opened everything and it's here on my desk. It comes with directions and we get artwork for the stamp set. It'll show you what the stamps are. I label my stamps. As soon as I get them, I put the name of the stamp set and I put the month so that I can remember to go back and find the directions, or if I want to go online and look up some alternative cards, I can look for it and know what the stamps are. So I have written those on there, but this is what the artwork is. Wishing you the happiest of days, thankful. There's some geese, acorns, pumpkins, thinking of you, a few leaves, and warm wishes. Those are our stamps that we'll be using. We also have, we're making 9 cards, three each of 3 designs. Here is the cardstock for one of them, and it comes with coordinating envelopes. Here is the card back for the other one, very nice and plain, but we're going to do some fun things with it. And then we have this checkered background, and it has also a different color. So again, these are what the cards will look like. The colors that coordinate with this set, we got a Cajun Craze spot. It also coordinates with Crumb Cake, Darling Duckling, Early Espresso, Pecan Pie, Timid Tiger, and we have some metallic chocolate bronze on our leaves. Online, you can also get every quarter, every 3 months, there is a little, additional kit that you can purchase. Only Paper Pumpkin subscribers can purchase, and it will coordinate with the next 3 months worth of kits. So this is the current one that's out, and it has a hello that you can die cut. You can die cut an acorn, which I've also seen used as a strawberry for the strawberry kit that was in, I think, June. And then there's just a circle that you can use for background or to stamp a sentiment. And then there's little flower and little leaves. This is going to be your little top for your strawberry if you make it a strawberry instead of an acorn. All right, so let's get started. The first card we're going to do is this one. And I have already, like I said, I just went through and kind of grouped things by what we would need them. The cards backing, the cardstock comes like this flat, and it's already pre-scored, so you just need to fold it. So I have it folded. And then this piece was also in the kit. And so we're going to be putting this here. And if you notice, the directions will tell us we're going to stamp acorns on a circle. I guess I should have shown you, this was also in there. I didn't punch these out because it's easier to stamp them sometimes when they're actually on their page. So I left them there. We're going to be using these circles with the crumb cake with the, I guess that's the chocolate bronze metallic. We're going to stamp our acorns there. So let's get that done first. And I am bringing in just a foam mat because when we use photopolymer stamps, it's much easier. We get a more clear image when we stamp on foam. The old-fashioned red rubber stamps had the rubber built right in, so it had a little cushion so that it's going to give you a good image. These don't have any give, so we need the give of a mat. And if you don't have one of these big mats, that's fine. You know what also works really well? The reach around here and grab it. The silicone mat from Stampin' Up or wherever you choose to get one. The silicone mat has just enough little give that you can use it to get a nice clear image with your stamp. All right, so I'm going to open my Cajun Craze spot. I really love the spots. This is the size of a normal stamp pad. And this is the spot. These are great to travel. They store very easily. If you get the ink refills, which are just little bottles like this, then you can just re-ink these and they're wonderful. Um, this is the way that I have all of the ink that Stampin' Up! Has. I do have some of the full-size pads for things that I use really frequently, but I like having the spots because then I can do everything. All right. Because it's a circle, yay, I don't have to worry about is it straight because it doesn't matter. It's in the middle of the circle and I can rotate. Um, so we need 3 of these little guys. I'm going to go ahead and stamp all 3 of them. The nice thing with photopolymer is you can look through the stamp on the block and make sure that you're centered in whatever it is you're stamping, whether it's on a circle or a line or in the middle of a card or whatever you're doing. All right, I bring in my dirty little chamois and just wipe off my stamp so that it's clean. The chamois get ugly looking because they're well loved. They still clean the stamps beautifully. And actually, you can use some Dawn dish soap or something light and wash them off. You can't do it for years and years, but I had one chamois that lasted me probably a good year, and I used to wash it in the washing machine when I'd wash my rags. So I don't recommend doing that every week, every day, but every when it got to the point that the ink wasn't coming out anymore when I washed it at the sink, then it was time to use the washing machine. Okay, so we have this, and I have to get my directions because I want to show you how it shows you these little circles, and that's where we're going to put our dimensionals. Those also come in our package. Um, these are big ones. I am looking for small ones, which I have here somewhere. Because there we go. Because this frame, I mean, here we could use the bigger ones, they'd be fine. But along the edges here, we want something a little skinnier so that it fits and doesn't show. So I like to use a lot of dimensionals because I'm that way. So put some in the corners, put some in the middle. All right. So Stampin' Up! Has dimensionals that are small like this and larger like this. Back in the day, they used to be different heights, but they're now all the same, which is a good thing. That's how it should be. Now, certainly you could use the large ones and cut them in half. That would make a lot of sense if you have a lot of those. But like I said, the kits come with everything you need. I already had some open dimensionals, so I did not use the ones that came in the kit. But let me reach around here. This is what was in the kit. It's got some glue dots and the dimensionals. But since, like I said, I had these, I didn't worry about opening those. And you always get way more than you need. All right. So now I'm going to take off all of these backings. I have seen some demonstrators that have awesome ideas for how can you tell that you actually got all your little dots off. Some of the demonstrators say that you can take a marker and make a line down kind of a row so that you can see there'll be a line on the back. And obviously if you see a line, you haven't removed the backing. Some people have just colored the whole back. I am too lazy to do that because that would take time away from crafting. Excuse me. So I just kind of look at them sideways and stick my fingers on them to see. And I want to make sure I'm facing up because there are trees here with deer. So I'm going to put down my frame. Ta-da! Now I have my acorns. And these are, let's see, we're supposed to put them here. So since this is going to be on the frame and here, and the frames are raised up, I can put just glue dots. I'm sorry, I'm probably not even in camera. I can put glue dots here. Let me see, I'm trying to make my view big so I can see. I could put glue dots on half and then dimensionals on half. That way it's going to stick to both. But I'm here to tell you that, most people aren't that rough with their cards. So I'm going to use a big dimensional and put it, hope I use the right side. Yep. Might have to get my water here. We're also using the word thankful, which was pre-printed for us. Excuse me. I'm going to grab my water. Goodness gracious. Okay, thank you for your patience. All right, so we have the word thankful and we have our acorns, and they're going to kind of go together like this and mount down here on the card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the thankful on first. And again, I think I'm off camera. Sorry about that, folks. There we go. There is my thankful. And my acorn's going to go right next to it. So I think the easiest way is going to be I'm going to put my acorns on first and then put my thankful, kind of tuck it behind. And there we go. And there's our first card. Easy peasy. So inside is blank. You can put your own sentiment in if you have some sentiment stamps. You can use all the space to write a note, whatever you'd like to do. Now, the stamp set that we got came with, we have the acorns and the pumpkins and the leaves. So we can absolutely stamp inside with some pumpkins or some falling leaves. Let's try that. Let's do some leaves inside. So maybe I'll make a little border and I'll just put the leaves. Let's see, if leaves are falling, they're going to be kind of coming down like this. Right? Kind of like that. So let me stamp them up, ink them up, sorry. And I will bring this in to show you that it will work just as well. And let's see, I think I will put the leaves on the inside here. See? We get a nice crisp image. And then we'll repeat the design. Yeah, we'll go one more. It's not going to get all of them, but that's okay. We'll just do this. There we go. It's our little design inside. And then I have my own little signature kind of thing, I guess. My own little label. I make sure to stamp all of my cards on the back with it because it lets people know that I made the card and it has the Stampin' Up! uh, copyright because I do donate a lot of cards, and this way, either donating them or selling them, with the angel policy, we have to make sure to give Stampin' Up! Credit for their design, as we should. So by making sure that that copyright is on the back, people know that I made it and I used Stampin' Up! Product. All right, let's move on to the next card. Scooch these out of the way. Okie doke. Our next card is, oh, this one's very pretty. So this is our blank card. And what we're doing is stamping some background and we're going to add all these leaves. And look at the pretty color, the timid tiger color on the back. So we have these leaves that were already pre-punched for us. They came as on a sheet, kind of like these did. And like I said, I just punched everything out ahead of time so that you didn't have to sit and watch me punch things out. Um, so we're going to be putting these together and look at these. These are the chocolate foil leaves. Aren't those pretty? So we're going to use those. And then we also have ribbon that was provided. And again, it's pre-cut. A lot of times ribbon isn't pre-cut. We might get a spool of twine or maybe a little roll of ribbon. But since this is supposed to just be flat and we're going to be folding it over, they already pre-cut it for us. So that is so awesome. Makes it easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, so what we need to do first is I'm going to move these out of the way so that I can bring in my big mat again. And we're gonna stamp some random leaves in the background. And I already have them on the block. Now the directions show that we have two leaves and they're kind of whatever. You know what? I've got three leaves. I don't care. It's my card and I'm gonna do three leaves, not two. So there we have it. And we're just hitting around the edges. Um, so there's some background for the leaves that we're putting in the middle. I'm trying to make sure that the leaves look like they're falling, but I guess it doesn't really matter, right? There is no right or wrong way to do this, and I will tell you that the next one I make is going to look different than this one, because that's the joy. As I said, we can make three cards. That's what the supplies are. But one of the nice things about Paper Pumpkin is it allows you to get really creative, because not only do I have these three cards, I could cut this in half and have two card fronts and use just plain cardstock in whatever color I'd like. Whether I used maybe, oh yeah, my mind just totally went blank. What are our coordinating colors here? Maybe I used early espresso or pecan pie. That's the one I was thinking of, and use that for my card base and use this as the accent on the front page. How cool is that? So when there's a really nice design on the front, that's what we can do, so that you can actually get more cards than just the nine that we're making. But I feel like just making these because. All right, I'm gonna put this in here. All right, I think that's good enough for me. Now, the directions tell us, let me get rid of my mat because it's kind of big. The directions tell us that we're going to type wishing you happiest of days on our big circles. So let me bring this over and get a block and find the stamps, because I buried them under all of this stuff. Here they are. All right, wishing you happiest of days. I'm gonna put that on here. And again, because we're in a circle, it doesn't have to be straight. If I were doing this on maybe on the inside of the card or somewhere where I wanted it to be straight, what I can do, if you notice the grid lines on our paper, you can line up your stamp on those grid lines. Again, we can see through it because it's photopolymer. So you can line it up so it's straight on the line, and then you take your block, line your block up on a line, and then just kind of drop it down and rock. And then it's on there flat. So then when you want to do it, say I want to stamp on the inside here, I line up my card, line up the block, and I would just drop it down, and then it will be straight. So there's a little trick for you. Again, we're doing a circle, so it's all good. I like circles because then I don't have to be straight. There we go. It's always straight no matter what way I go because I can just rotate. All right. I'm going to save this other circle and not stamp it because I may use that for something else. And if I didn't like, say, I wanted to do something different. I could still use this. I'll just turn it over and stamp on the back. But I do like this. They all turned out good. So, all right. I have my card base. Uh-oh, I'm throwing leaves around. They're sticking to things. All right. So now our directions tell us to, on the circle, we're going to put those dark filled in ones mean that it's glue dots. I'm going to use my snail because I have it here. So I'm just going to put snail on the back of my circle. And I'm going to fold over my ribbon. Now, I'm going to tell you that ribbon is kind of tricky, and I am going to need glue dots for the ribbon because snail just isn't strong enough to hold it. Now, if I were using um, the heavy duty snail, then yes, it would absolutely work, but I'm not. So I'm going to put blue dot here and blue dot here because those will help hold it over. So I'm going to just fold that. And then I'm going to put a glue dot here. Oops. Yeah, that'll work too. And I have to make sure that when I'm doing this, it's going to be, not like coming up the side of the sentiment. Okay, so I want it to look, that's what it'll look like. So let's do this. There we go. Perfect. Now, the next thing we have to do is on our leaves. It's showing that the hollow circles are the dimensionals. So let's get some dimensionals. All right. So to build out the card, we're going to put one set like this and one set like this. And then we're going to use, it says dimensionals on the backs of these shiny metallic ones. But I'm here to tell you that if you're going to mail this card, you do not want dimensional and then dimensional because it's going to cost you extra money. You can usually get by with one layer of dimensionals in the post office, but more than that, it's not going to work. So I am just going to use snail and put these leaves down flat. They have enough dimension of their own because they're shiny. And then some more adhesive back here. I'm going to put this right in the middle. See, there's our card. Isn't it pretty? I like that. And then, like I said, I have to make sure to take credit for our work. So I'm going to do my little stamp. And I just created this. Stampin' Up! Has angel stamps. And this actually is old. There was an alphabet and there was hashtag send a card, the stamp and write copy up. Maybe these are all separate stamps that I just keep on a block. And you can see how discolored they are because I've used them for so long. Um, anyway, and inside, wishing you the happiest of days. I don't think there's anything else I'm going to put in there. I think this will just make a nice little birthday card for someone with a fall birthday, or maybe just a little pickup card. Somebody's not having a good day or they're sick. So there's card number two. All right, let me move those out of the way so we can move along to card number three. I'm going to move my circles out of the way so I don't get them all inky from something else. Because, I'm good for that. All right, our last card uses this really pretty paper. Um, and look at this cornfield. Isn't that neat? It's already done. I mean, I could color it or, whatever, but they've already done all that for me because the idea is that in about half an hour, you can make your own, um, you can make your cards and be done and have something fun and relaxing and not take up a ton of time and not need to do like tons and tons of work. All right, so let me get my stamps cleaned real quick so that I can have a block free. Our next sentiment that we're going to be using is thinking of you. So I'm going to peel that off here and put it on my block. And I'm going to bring in the little mat. And we're going to be using these little flags. And Stampin' Up! So kindly gives us 4 because they know that I mess everything up. All right. So I am doing it this way with the flag to the right. Not too shabby. If I screwed it up, I could just flip it over and the flag would be to the left, or turn it that way and it's still to the right. So either way, it's all good. I'm going to stamp another thinking of you. So you see me fussing with this. I leave one edge attached because I don't, when I have several spots out, I don't want to have to look around to see which one's which. And so this way everything's all connected. It probably would be easier to do this if I have them off, but I don't, so I'll suffer. All right, that one's even better. I like that one better. Try this one. Have to make sure when you're stamping that you stamp straight. Do you notice all these little extra marks? I don't know if you can see them or not, where I have ink all over the place um, on the block and not just the stamp. And so that's problematic because you don't want to get that anywhere. So when you stamp, if you stamp straight, you're not going to have to, you're not going to have to worry about that. So we don't want to rock the stamp. That means when you put it down, you don't want to rock it back and forth to try and make sure you're getting a good image. Straight up, straight down, or straight down, straight up. And there we go. All right. I think that's the only thing we needed to stamp on this. So I will take one of these. I'll let the other ones dry in there. All right, so this card is going to be a landscape. Oh, we get to stamp some geese. in the corner up here. They're flying over the field, the cornfield. So let me take off my thinking of you stamp and find the geese. All right, let's make sure we get the geese flying right side up. Hmm. I think we'll go with this way. That's the way it looks like on the card. There we go. All right. So this gets dimensionals. And again, see, look, it's showing dimensionals on the back of our scene and then dimensionals on the back of our pumpkin and fox and label. I think I am going to make the scene, the background flat. Because again, I don't do double dimensionals unless I'm going to hand somebody a card. Then it's okay because, you don't have to worry about postage or uh, when you have too many layers and it's too thick and you mail it, that's when there's problems with the post office tearing up envelopes and things just don't make it intact. Plus the fact that you have to pay more to have it hand canceled and because it's thick, too thick to go through the machines, and it's just kind of a pain in the patootie. So that one's flat. Now let's get our pumpkins and our little fox. Isn't that little fox cute? All right. Here's some dimensionals. One, two. Let's put one on his tail. And then we have our pumpkins. And again, these were all punched out. They were just ready to go. All right. Our pumpkins are going to kind of go here at the end of the fence. And Mr. Fox, if I can get the backing off. There we go. I have a trash can down here. I'm putting these right in because those little backings end up everywhere. Mr. Fox can sit right there. And where did I put? There it is, thinking of you. I think I'm going to use my big dimensionals here. We have to make sure we use everything, so don't forget about using the flat edges because, they're good for long strips. There we go, cord number 3. Again, let's stamp the back because we have to take credit for our work. Inside, I could stamp the little pumpkins. That would be cute. There we go. Actually, I think I'm going to put one on the front of the envelope too. Because, envelopes don't have to be naked. And if you notice, there's a design on the flap. That's very easy to replicate with your designer series paper. You can just cut a 2-inch strip and glue it on the flap and then turn it over and cut along so that you have this really nice design. Another thing you can do if you want to is just stamp on the flap. So I could turn this over and I could stamp a bunch of the leaves, or I could stamp a bunch of the pumpkins, or pumpkins and leaves. Anyway, so don't forget about your envelopes. Give them a little bit of love too. All right, so there are the three cards. You saw it didn't take very long at all. And all of the supplies were there. I'm going to put them back out so you can see all the cards we need. Our spot. Oh, where's my other? Where's our first card? Here it is. So let me make sure that you can see all of those. All right. Well, I thank you so much for being here with me tonight. I appreciate your time, and hopefully you will come around again in the future, and I will be a little more proficient at this um, YouTube thing so that I can get it all figured out and actually maybe have some comments. But it's really nice to meet you all, and thanks for being here. Now go make some mischief with paper. Take care.